I stopped giving a damn about being an alpha male, a high value male, any type of title that was given by somebody else in order to validate my worthiness in the eyes of another person. Now, look, I was in the red pill, the manosphere space for quite a while, from the time I was around 19 to probably 26, right? And I would drench myself in that content. I threw myself absolutely and wholeheartedly into that content. I believed that there was truth in the red pill. I believed that this was the unveiling of reality to me. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what the red pill is, it is essentially a space or, yeah, it's a collective or a space for men to discover the true nature of women. That's what it comes down to, right? Some people may try to refute it and say, no, it's a personal development. It's a space where men can talk, blah, blah, blah. But the red pill analogy comes from the Matrix, where Neo had a choice to choose a red pill or blue pill, right? Red pill was reality. Blue pill was staying in the illusion, and he chose a red pill. And so they use this terminology of a red pill to say the truth. And the truth of what? The truth of female nature. That's what it comes down to. Now, is it the truth of female nature? Absolutely not. It's the truth of what happens when you project your own insecurities, your own wounds and internal hurts that have not yet been resolved or processed. That's what it is the truth of. That's what's really going on that side. And I'm not saying this to spite anybody or to smite anybody's name. I had to come to this realization for myself. I had to come to the acceptance that I was wounded, that I was hurt, and that I needed healing, that I needed to go within and truly check my belief systems, that I was manifesting a reality that I deemed was problematic. And I believed that the cause of that problem was them. And there was a continuous pointing of the finger. And I know there's, both sides are doing the very same thing. Men on their side, women on their side, both pointing fingers to say they're the problem, right? Modern men are the problem, modern women are the problem. This divisiveness is not a solution for us, but that's a video for an entirely different day. What I'm here to talk about is why I no longer care about being considered this alpha male or high value male, etc. First of all, the entire premise of being this high value male or alpha male is nothing more than a title you give yourself in order to validate yourself in the eyes of another person. Now, I know we don't like to accept this, right? We don't like to look at the reality, but the ones who are teaching this, who are pushing this propaganda, who are pushing this message of the alpha male, the high value male, are the very same individuals who are placing the woman on the pedestal, or placing the one that they say that they don't care about on a pedestal. Think about it this way. If I am doing everything possible to get the attention of another individual, is that person not on a pedestal for me? So when I'm being told that I must get the muscles, that I must get the money, that I must get, what is it? There's like the six sixes or something like that. I need to get all these qualifications. I need to meet this particular resume in order to get the attraction and get the affection. Right? I got to buy the fleet of Bugattis. I got to have some social status. I got to be a somebody in society. I got to have some sort of fame and notoriety. I got to have, a whole lot of money in my bank account. I got to look good, smell good, this good, that good. When I create this criteria list, there's a reason I'm creating this application. It's because I'm sending it in to get the job or to meet the requirements of somebody who I'm placing on a pedestal higher than myself. It's the same thing you would do in a job, right? If you're trying to get a job, you're trying to impress the boss, which means you're putting them on a pedestal. We may not like to accept that, but that's the reality of it. And so when I was in this pursuit of being an alpha male, considering myself as a high value male, doing all these things and pursuing a certain way of living, I was doing all of it in order to get female validation. That's the God honest truth. That's what this is really about, right? While at the same time resenting the very one that I was trying to get the affection and the admiration of. All of it is rooted in the seeking of validation, external validation at that. All of it is rooted in seeking worthiness, acceptance, deservedness. Am I good enough yet? Am I good enough to be seen by one of you? Am I good enough to be seen by all of you? And the more eyes that are seeing me, the better I feel about myself. Now, how is that not rooted in essentially pedestalization of the very thing that you say is the problem? That to me, when I started looking at this logically, when I took myself out of an emotional state, because the reason why these things work, it's like any other cult, and yes, I will call it what it is. It's a cult. It just doesn't have its qualifications to be a non-taxable entity yet. That's the only difference. It just isn't a church or red pill yet. That's the reason why we can't completely give it over to that religious kind of state, but it has the same psychological ramifications. And the reason why we get into these things is because we have an aptitude, or we have a propensity to get into those things that, compel and are emotionally striking for us based upon our own belief systems, based upon those subconscious programs and conditioning. And a lot of this did start from a very early age. It wasn't when we became young adults or adults when we started to take on these beliefs, but instead it started in infancy, at the earliest stages of life. Like, I was already being indoctrinated with this type of messaging through media, television, through music, right? I grew up on hip hop. So I was already being indoctrinated to see women in a certain way, and also to see myself in a certain way, and also to validate myself based upon, how much female validation I was able to get. I was seeing the music videos where the one rapper would have, a bunch of chicks around it, and I thought to myself, that's what a man is. And if that's what a man is, then, that's what I want to be. And so I got to get myself in that setting. How do I get myself surrounded by, females like this guy is in this video? That's the mentality. That's the psychology that we're pressed into, unaware, unintentionally, subconsciously. And then when we perpetuate these belief systems throughout life, never checking the belief systems, we start to then find ourselves in relationship dynamics where we're projecting that very same mentality onto the relationships. And when we start to have experiences that, quote unquote, validate that belief system, now we see that as reality, even though it's our own perception, right? It's our own creation. It's like, if I believe everybody is a certain type of way, I can only see the ones who fit that. It's a bias. It's a cognitive bias. It's manifest destiny, right? If I believe that every single brown person acts in a certain way, then I will only see brown people who act in a certain way. I will not acknowledge the rest who are not acting in accordance to that. I can only focus upon the thing that is aligned with my perception in order to validate my bias. So this is the very same thing that happens with this kind of red pill ideology. And I'm only calling it red pill because that's the terms that are used by the space itself. But I think it's deeper, right? I think there's so many more nuances to what's actually happening here and what it actually is. But I'll just use this to simplify things. So we buy into this belief system because it validates our pre-existing notions. It validates a lot of our woundedness. It validates even the relationship that we may have had with our maternal figure, with the mother in our lives, right? Where maybe there was a fractured relationship. Maybe we were always seeking the validation of mommy and we never felt that we got it. Or maybe it was an overbearing type relationship. Whatever the dynamic may have been, it started at a very early age. Our belief systems were then ingrained and internalized, and we continue to perpetuate it by consuming content, by filling our minds with these ideas of what women were like, until we got to this place where we are now, where we see ourselves as a victim of this, this larger entity and this larger system that's working against us, when in reality it is our very own mind that is working against us. We are working against ourselves. And now we're looking to find meaning in this, to find value, no pun intended, in this entire equation. And so we put titles upon ourselves like high value male. Why? Because I want to feel like I'm valuable. I want to feel like I'm good enough. I want to feel like I'm adequate. So I'm going to do the external things that I believe are going to make me adequate, until I realize, once I got some of those things, that none of them mean anything. Muscles aren't going to take away the insecurity of how you feel about yourself. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. I done seen gorillas, real life, Statue of David looking dudes. And these same individuals are some of the most insecure when it comes to how they look. And they're always thinking in the back of their head, are people only liking me because of how I look? Is this girl only giving me attention because she likes my body? And so you also have this innate or inherent belief that you're still not good enough. Without the muscles, you'd be nobody, and she wouldn't want you, right? Or, you get the Bugattis, you get the fleet of Bugattis. And now you're just thinking to yourself, do they only want me because of the Bugatti? Do they only want me because I am, somebody with a little bit of money and a little bit of status? And so you become paranoid, but not only paranoid, but you become more insecure, more deeply wounded, believing that I'm only wanted for these things. And guess what? In most cases, it's the truth, because that's what you led with. Whatever you're going to lead with, that's the thing that's value. It's like if you're female and you lead with the badonka, if you lead with the rear, then that's exactly what you're going to attract. You're going to attract people that are attracted to just that. That is your value. That is what you're signaling to the universe. You're signaling to the world that this is the thing of importance. And so that's what's going to draw people in. And so that's what they want you for. But if you lead with authenticity, with who you truly are, right? Lead with being real. And a lot of us fear the real self because we think, man, I'm kind of a nerd. I'm a real, like me, I'm a real life nerd. I really am. I like things like quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and I like things like, comics, and I like things like storytelling and, writing books just as much as I like rapping. These are the things that I indulge myself in. And if I thought to myself, man, that real version of me, I don't know if that one's going to be, attractive enough for the world. So I have to create a new image in order to get the validation of the world. And the problem that is underlaying this entire equation is the reality that we are still seeking something externally that we can only find internally. We're still seeking validity from outside sources. We're needing somebody else to give us a title that makes us good enough. And they will sell you the title. Believe me and you, they will sell you the title, whether they believe it or not, right? Just like the clergyman or the man standing at the pulpit will sell you that religion, whether he believes it or not, because he knows he can get some out of you. He's going to get that dollar bill up out of you is what he's going to get. These red pill, they're going to sell you the course. They're going to sell you they're going to sell you the product or whatever it may be, even if it's not benefiting you, even if it's completely against your greatest good, even if they're doing the thing or not themselves. And a lot of these dudes have been exposed that they're not who they claim to be, that they're living completely and contrary to the things that they spew on a day-to-day basis. And they're using these platforms as ways to gain off of people's naivety, to gain off of people's insecurity, to gain off of people's brokenness and their woundedness. And so it is time for us to really face this reality if we're to not only wake up, but to live a life where we truly know that we are more than enough already. You don't have to do anything extra to be enough. I know that's been the message. Self or personal development is not to make yourself a better person in the eyes of others. That's not the purpose of it. It's to enrich your own life. You're good enough as you are. You might be an addict. You might be a whatever at this point, 300 pounds overweight. You're good enough right now. That doesn't mean don't aspire towards a healthier lifestyle, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you are good enough in this moment as you are. You are perfect. You are whole. You are not inadequate. You are not broken. You are not fallen. You are not shamed. You are good enough here. And if you continue to cultivate that self-love, it will matter if you're 300 pounds or 180 pounds, built like a brick house. You are more than enough at this very moment in time. And that's the message we need, not the message of, how to create a high value male lifestyle or whatever the heck it is. And I know it's attractive. Trust me. I know it is. And I'm not an anti-consumption type of individual. If there's something that I like, if there's something that I believe in, I'm willing to invest in that thing, regardless of the price point. All right. There's certain designs of a Lambo that I like, so I'll get that Lambo. That's what it is. But I'm not going to get it in order to pull up so I can be seen, so I can feel like a somebody. Absolutely not. I'll be damned. So that being said, quick plug on my first published book, Doing Me Guilt-Free, Breaking Free from People Pleasing and Unleashing Your True Personal Power. This is honestly, this book is a lifetime investment. It's one of those type of books that will travel with you for the rest of your life. Seriously. From the age of 7 to 177, I will be thumbing through this book. I can't go back to 7, but I can get to 177. So that being said, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Till the next time, namaste, namaskar.